Maya Bennett had everything money could buy, except the one thing her heart craved most, to be loved for who she truly was, not what she owned. At 30, she was the wealthiest woman in every room she entered, yet she felt invisible behind walls of gold that protected her from fortune hunters, but also from real love. Then, one charity dinner changed everything when she met Luke, a humble waiter whose honest eyes saw straight through her carefully constructed armor to the lonely woman beneath. But when a mysterious envelope filled with cash appears at Maya's door with Luke's name on it, their fairy tale romance shatters like glass, and Maya must choose between the evidence before her eyes and the love in her heart. What she doesn't know is that someone from her past is playing a deadly game, determined to destroy her happiness and prove that true love is just another luxury the rich can't afford. Will Maya discover the truth before it's too late, or will she lose the only man who ever loved her for herself? If you're watching this love story unfold, hit subscribe and tell me where you're watching from. I love connecting with viewers from around the world who believe in the power of true love. The charity dinner at Azure House was supposed to be simple: 30 people, good cause, polite conversation. Maya Bennett smoothed her navy dress and followed her mother through the restaurant's front doors. The warm light made everything look golden, but Maya felt cold inside. "Remember, darling," her mother Elaine whispered, "the Hartwell family will be here tonight. Their son David just finished law school." Maya nodded but didn't really listen. She was tired of being introduced to suitable men who saw dollar signs when they looked at her. Being the richest woman in most rooms wasn't a blessing. It was lonely. Luke Harris adjusted his black server's shirt and checked the table numbers one more time. Table 12 had a crooked place card. He fixed it without thinking. Marcelo, the restaurant manager, walked over with his clipboard. "Big night," Marcelo said. "These charity dinners bring in good tips, but watch yourself. Some of these people think money makes them better than us." Luke nodded. He'd worked enough events to know the type, but he needed every shift he could get. His sister Rosa was in nursing school, and their rent was due next week. Maya entered the dining room and immediately felt eyes on her. She heard the whispers. "That's Maya Bennett. Her family owns half the city. Richest woman in the room. She wished she could disappear. All she wanted was to be seen as herself, not as a bank account with legs." Luke filled water glasses at table 8. When he reached Maya's table, he looked at her directly. "Still or sparkling?" he asked. That was it. No comment about her dress, no mention of her family, no obvious attempt to impress her, just a simple question about water. "Still, please," Maya said, surprised by how normal it felt. Luke poured the water and moved on. Maya watched him work. He was calm, careful with every detail. When an older man at table 4 dropped his napkin, Luke appeared with a clean one before the man even noticed. When a woman spilled wine, Luke cleaned it up without making her feel embarrassed. The dinner began with speeches about the local food bank. Maya had donated enough to feed 500 families, but she stayed quiet about it. She always did. Money talked loud enough without her help. "Maya, dear," said Mrs. Patterson from across the table, "you simply must tell us about your latest investment. I heard you bought that lovely building downtown." Maya felt her cheeks get warm. "I prefer not to discuss business at dinner." "Oh, but surely," Luke appeared beside Mrs. Patterson's chair. "Excuse me, ma'am, the manager needs to speak with you about your coat check ticket." Mrs. Patterson looked confused. "My coat check ticket? There seems to be a small mix-up at the front. Nothing serious, but if you could come with me for just a moment." Maya realized what Luke was doing. There was no problem with any coat check ticket. He was rescuing her from an uncomfortable conversation. Mrs. Patterson followed him away from the table, still looking puzzled. When Luke returned a few minutes later, he refilled Maya's water glass. "Thank you," she said quietly. "The manager really did need to see her," Luke said with a small smile. "About proper dinner conversation." Maya almost laughed. Almost. The evening continued with more courses and more attempts by other guests to talk about her money. Each time, Maya felt herself building walls higher. This was why she hated social events. People never just wanted to know her. They wanted to know what she could do for them. During dessert, Maya dropped her napkin. Before she could bend to pick it up, Luke was there. He handed her a fresh one and took the dropped one away. He did it so smoothly that no one else noticed. "You don't have to keep taking care of me," Maya whispered. "I'm not," Luke said. "I'm just doing my job." But his eyes were kind when he said it. Maya felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Safe. As the evening wound down, guests began to leave. Maya knew she should go too, but she didn't want to. Her mother was talking to the Hartwells by the coat check, probably setting up that introduction to David. Maya pulled a business card from her purse. It was simple, just her name and phone number. No company name, no fancy title. She waited until Luke passed her table again. "Thank you for tonight," she said, slipping him the card. "You made it bearable." Luke took the card and nodded. "Have a good evening, Miss Bennett." Maya gathered her purse and walked toward the front door. Her mother was still talking to the Hartwells, but Maya didn't stop. She needed air. Outside, she waited by the valet station. She could take her car and go home to her empty townhouse, or she could do something different, something that scared her a little. 10 minutes later, Luke finished his side work in the kitchen. He'd looked at Maya's business card twice but hadn't decided what to think about it. Rich people gave cards to service workers all the time. Sometimes it meant they were impressed with the service. Sometimes it meant they expected special treatment in the future. Luke walked back into the dining room to clear the last few glasses. Maya's table was empty, but she wasn't gone. She stood near the coat check, holding her jacket instead of wearing it. Luke made his decision. He walked over to her table, picked up her business card from where he'd left it by the register, and approached her. "You forgot this," he said, holding out the card. Maya looked at the card, then at him. She understood. He wasn't going to call her. He wasn't looking for favors or money or connections. He was just being honest. "You're right," she said, taking the card back. "I did forget it." They stood there for a moment. Other guests walked past them, heading for the door. Maya's mother was still talking to the Hartwells, but she kept glancing over. "Do you eat after work?" Maya asked quietly. Luke blinked. "Eat?" "Dinner. Late dinner. There's a diner a couple blocks from here. Harbor Diner. They have good pie." Luke looked around the restaurant. Marcelo was counting receipts at the bar. Most of the staff was finishing cleanup. Luke's shift was officially over. "I'd have to pay for my own food," Luke said. "Of course," Maya replied, "and I don't want any favors." "I'm not offering any." Luke studied her face. She looked tired, but not in a physical way. More like she was tired of pretending to be someone she wasn't. "Okay," he said, "but just dinner." "Just dinner," Maya agreed. They walked out of Azure House together. The night air was cool and the street was quiet except for distant traffic. Maya's mother called her name from behind them. "Maya, where are you going? The Hartwells were hoping to meet you." "I'm getting dinner, Mom. I'll call you tomorrow." Elaine Bennett looked from her daughter to the young waiter beside her. Her expression was carefully neutral, but Maya could see the questions in her eyes. "Be careful, darling," Elaine said. Maya kissed her mother's cheek. "I always am." The Harbor Diner was exactly what it sounded like, a small, warm place with red vinyl booths and a view of the water. The neon sign buzzed softly in the window, and the smell of coffee and pie filled the air. They chose a booth in the back, away from the few other late-night customers. The waitress, whose name tag read Janine, brought them menus and coffee without being asked. "What's good here?" Maya asked. "Everything," Luke said, "but the grilled cheese is perfect, and Janine makes the best apple pie in the city." Maya ordered both. Luke got grilled cheese and coffee. When the food came, they ate slowly, talking about small things. Luke told her about his work fixing broken kitchen drawers for elderly neighbors. Maya told him about her morning routine of reading and writing in her journal. "Do you like your job?" Maya asked. "At the restaurant? It's fine. Good people, steady hours, Marcelo's fair." Luke stirred sugar into his coffee. "I like working with my hands better, though. Fixing things, making them work right." "What kind of things?" "Tables, chairs, leaky faucets. Nothing fancy. But when something's broken and you can make it work again." Luke shrugged. "It feels good." Maya nodded. She understood that feeling, though her version was different. When she found a struggling business and helped it grow, when she saw people keep their jobs because of a quiet investment, that felt good too. Her phone buzzed, a text from someone named Jordan. "How was dinner? Call me." Maya turned the phone face down and left it on the table. "Sorry," she said. "Ex-boyfriend. He doesn't understand that X means X." Luke smiled. Those are the worst kind. What about you? Any exes who don't take hints? Not really. I don't date much. Between work and taking care of my sister, Luke trailed off. You take care of your sister? She's in nursing school. Smart as anything, but school's expensive. And she has asthma, so sometimes she needs to take it slow. Maya heard the love in his voice when he talked about his sister. It reminded her of how protective her own mother was, even when that protection felt like control. The check came. Maya reached for it, but Luke was faster. I said I'd pay for my own, he reminded her. Right. Maya put money on the table for her half. Sorry, I'm used to being in charge? Taking care of things, Maya corrected. They left the diner together and walked slowly toward the bus stop. The street was quiet except for their footsteps. This was nice, Maya said. It was, Luke agreed. They reached the corner where Luke would catch his bus home. Maya's car was parked a block away in the other direction. Maybe we could do it again, Maya said. Sometime this week. Luke looked at her for a long moment. In the light from the street lamp, she looked younger, less guarded. I'd like that, he said. Maya smiled, a real smile that reached her eyes. Good. Luke's bus appeared at the end of the block. Before he got on, he turned back to Maya. For what it's worth, he said, I don't think you're what people say about you. What do people say about me? That you're cold, untouchable, Luke shrugged. You're not. The bus pulled up with a wheeze of brakes. Luke climbed on, found a seat by the window, and waved as the bus pulled away. Maya stood on the corner for a moment after the bus disappeared. For the first time in months, she wasn't thinking about investments or board meetings or her mother's expectations. She was thinking about grilled cheese and apple pie and the way Luke's eyes crinkled when he smiled. She walked back to her car, already planning what she'd wear to their next dinner. The next morning, Luke made oatmeal while his sister Rosa studied nursing flashcards at their small kitchen table. Their apartment was tiny but clean, with hand-me-down furniture and plants Rosa kept alive despite their north-facing windows. You're humming, Rosa said, not looking up from her cards. Am I? Luke added brown sugar to both bowls. You only hum when something good happened. Rosa finally looked at him. What's her name? Luke laughed. His sister knew him too well. Maya. Maya what? Maya who came to dinner at the restaurant last night. Maya who likes pie. Maya who paid for her own food and didn't try to impress me. Rosa coughed softly, the way she did when her asthma was acting up. Luke handed her the inhaler from the counter. Thanks. Rosa took a puff and set it down. So what's wrong with her? Nothing's wrong with her. Luke, Rosa gave him her serious face. You haven't been interested in anyone since what's her name from the grocery store, and that was 2 years ago. There's got to be something. Luke thought about how to answer. He couldn't exactly say that Maya was probably rich, because Rosa would worry about motives and money and all the things that made relationships complicated. She's just different, Luke said finally. Different how? She doesn't try to be impressive. She's quiet, real. Rosa studied her brother's face. She'd been protecting him since their parents died in a car accident 5 years ago. Well, they'd been protecting each other really, but Luke always tried to carry more than his share. Just be careful, she said. People with money sometimes think they can buy whatever they want. How do you know she has money? You met her at Azure House, Luke. That place costs more for one dinner than we spend on groceries in a month. Luke's phone buzzed. A text from Marcelo. Extra shifts available this weekend if you want them. Big private party Saturday. He texted back. I'll take them. More work? Rosa asked. Just weekend stuff. We could use the money. Rosa nodded. She knew they could always use the money. Her nursing school tuition was expensive, even with financial aid, and her asthma medicine wasn't cheap either. I should go, Luke said, checking the time. Mrs. Chen needs her kitchen drawer fixed, and I promised her I'd be there by 9. He kissed Rosa's forehead and grabbed his small toolbox. At the door, he paused. Her name's Maya, he said again. I heard you the first time, Rosa replied with a smile. Across town, Maya sat in her townhouse kitchen with coffee and her journal. The house was beautiful but quiet. Too quiet sometimes. She'd bought it because she loved the garden and the way morning light filled the breakfast nook. But most mornings, she ate alone. She wrote about the dinner, about Luke's kindness and the way he'd returned her business card. Most men she met wanted something from her. Luke seemed to want nothing except honest conversation over pie. Her phone rang. Her mother. "Good morning, darling. I wanted to talk about last night." "Good morning, Mom." "David Hartwell is a lovely young man. Harvard Law, clerking for a federal judge. His family owns that shipping company." "I'm sure he's wonderful." Maya heard the careful tone in her own voice, the polite distance she used when she didn't want to have a conversation but couldn't avoid it. "Maya, sweetheart, I worry about you. You spend so much time alone. And when you do meet someone nice like David, you run off with what? You know what I mean." Maya did know. Her mother was worried about her having dinner with Luke. Not because Luke had done anything wrong, but because he wasn't from their world, because he worked for tips and probably lived paycheck to paycheck. "I had a nice evening, Mom, that's all." "I'm sure you did. But be practical, darling. Think about what you want your life to look like." After her mother hung up, Maya sat in her garden with her coffee. She knew what her life looked like now, safe, controlled, lonely. She thought about Luke fixing broken things and decided not to Google him. If she wanted to know about him, she'd ask him herself. Saturday afternoon, Maya found herself walking on the city pier. She hadn't planned to come here, but her feet had carried her from the parking garage to the waterfront. The weather was perfect. Sunny but not hot, with a breeze that smelled like salt water. She bought a bottle of water from a vendor and found a bench facing the harbor. Ferries moved back and forth between the mainland and the islands. Families walked past with strollers and dogs. A street musician played guitar near the ice cream stand. "Maya," she turned. Luke stood behind her bench wearing jeans and a gray t-shirt. He looked different outside of his work clothes, younger, more relaxed. "Hi," she said, surprised. "What are you doing here?" "Same thing as you, I think. Enjoying the day." He gestured to the empty space on the bench. "Mind if I sit?" "Please." Luke sat down, leaving comfortable space between them. They watched a ferry dock and unload passengers. "Do you come here often?" Luke asked. "Sometimes, when I need to think. You?" "Rosa and I used to come here when we were kids. Our parents would bring us on Sundays after church. We'd get ice cream and watch the boats." Maya heard something sad in his voice. "Used to. They died in an accident 5 years ago. Now it's just Rosa and me." "I'm sorry." "Thank you." Luke was quiet for a moment. "We still come sometimes, but it's different now. More about taking care of each other than just having fun." Maya wanted to ask more, but she could tell the subject was painful. Instead, she pointed to a small sailboat heading out to open water. "I've always wanted to learn to sail," she said. "Really?" "I figured. You'd already know how. Rich people always seem to know about boats." The words were out before Luke could stop them. Maya's face changed, not angry, but careful. "You know," she said, "I figured it out. You don't exactly blend in at Azure House." Maya sighed. "This is usually where things get weird." "Weird how?" "People start asking for things, or they get intimidated, or they decide I'm someone I'm not." Luke bought them both bottles of water from the vendor, insisting on paying even when Maya protested. They walked along the pier, talking about safer subjects, favorite movies, books they'd read, places they'd like to travel. A man with a phone walked past them, casually taking pictures of the harbor. Neither Maya nor Luke noticed when he snapped a photo of them laughing at something Luke had said. "I should probably head home soon," Maya said as they reached the end of the pier. "But this was nice, really nice." "It was," Luke agreed. "Maybe we could do something together again, something simple." "I'd like that. How about dinner? I could cook. Nothing fancy, just real food." Luke hesitated. Going to her house felt like a big step, different from meeting at a diner or walking on a public pier. "You could bring Rosa," Maya added. "If she wants to come, I'd like to meet her." That decided it for Luke. If Maya wanted to meet Rosa, if she was willing to include his sister in whatever this was, then she was different from what he'd expected. "I'll ask her," he said. "She'll probably say yes, she's been curious about you." They parted with a hug that lasted just long enough to feel important. Maya drove home thinking about what to cook for someone who'd grown up on simple food and love. Luke took the bus home thinking about how Maya had looked when she talked about sailing, like she was dreaming of something just out of reach. Sunday morning, Luke woke up to Rosa shaking his shoulder. "Luke, wake up, you need to see this." She held out her phone. On the screen was a gossip blog post titled, "Mystery Staffer on the Pier." The photo showed Maya and Luke walking together, heads close as they talked. Maya was laughing at something Luke was saying. "Oh no," Luke whispered. He read the article. It didn't say much, just speculation about investment heiress Maya Bennett being seen with an unidentified companion at the waterfront. But it included details about Maya's family wealth that made Luke's head spin. "Luke," Rosa said gently, "just how rich is this woman?" Luke was already reaching for his laptop. He'd managed to avoid Googling Maya for 3 days, but now he needed to know what he was dealing with. The search results made him sit down hard in his desk chair. Maya wasn't just wealthy. Her family owned hotels, office buildings, and investment firms across 3 states. Her personal net worth was estimated in the tens of millions. "She could buy our whole neighborhood," Rosa said, reading over his shoulder. Luke's phone buzzed. A text from Maya. "Good morning. Still on for dinner this week?" He stared at the message for a long time before typing back, "I saw the article. Can we talk tonight?" Maya's response came quickly. "Yes. Harbor Diner, 8 p.m.? Luke showed Rosa the messages. "Are you going to go?" she asked. "I have to. I need to understand what I've gotten myself into." At 6 o'clock that evening, Maya's doorbell rang. She opened it to find her mother holding a container of soup and wearing her worried expression. "I brought carrot soup," Elaine said, "and I think we need to talk." Maya let her mother in, though she knew this conversation wouldn't be easy. "I saw the photo online," Elaine said as soon as they were sitting in Maya's living room. "I figured you would." "Maya, sweetheart, what are you doing?" "I'm seeing someone kind, someone who makes me laugh, someone who doesn't want anything from me except conversation." "How do you know that? How can you be sure he's not just what, Mom? Using me for my money, like David Hartwell wouldn't be?" Elaine looked hurt. "That's different." "No, it's not. The only difference is that David's family already has money, so you think he's safe. I think he understands your world." "What if I don't want my world?" Maya asked quietly. "What if I want something smaller and warmer and more real?" Elaine was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was softer. "I just don't want you to get hurt, darling. You have such a good heart, and people take advantage of that." "Some people do," Maya agreed, "but not everyone. And I can't live in fear forever." "Can I meet him? Properly, I mean, not just see him across a restaurant." Maya thought about it. Luke was nervous enough about their dinner conversation tonight. Adding her mother to the mix might be too much too soon. "Maybe," she said, "if things go well tonight. Things are serious enough that there's a if things go well." Maya looked at her mother, really looked at her. Elaine Bennett was elegant and controlled and had spent 29 years trying to protect her daughter from every possible hurt. But some hurts couldn't be prevented, and some risks were worth taking. "I hope so," Maya said. At 8 o'clock, Maya and Luke sat in their usual booth at Harbor Diner. Janine brought them coffee and pie without being asked, then gave them privacy. "So," Luke said, stirring sugar into his coffee. "Investment heiress." "So," Maya replied, "you Googled me." "After my sister showed me the article, yes. I should have done it earlier, but I wanted to get to know you without all that." Maya nodded. "I should have told you. I was going to. I just liked being normal with you." "Normal," Luke repeated. "Maya, your family has more money than most people see in 10 lifetimes." "I know. My sister and I share a 1-bedroom apartment. I fix kitchen drawers for $20 an hour. Rosa's going to school on student loans and hope." "I know that too." Luke looked at her across the table. She was wearing jeans and a simple sweater, no jewelry except small earrings. She looked like someone he could talk to for hours, which made the money thing even more confusing. "So what happens now?" he asked. "I don't know," Maya said honestly. "I know I had more fun walking on the pier with you than I've had at any fancy dinner party in years. I know you make me feel like myself instead of like an investment account with legs. I know I want to keep seeing you if you want that too. I do want that, Luke said. But this is complicated, Maya. People are going to have opinions. Your mother, my sister, everyone who sees us together. Let them have opinions. The only opinions that matter are ours. Luke smiled despite himself. Rosa wants to meet you. She doesn't trust rich people, but she wants to know who's making me hum in the mornings. You hum in the mornings? Apparently. Maya reached across the table and took his hand. How about Friday night? Pasta and salad at my place. Nothing fancy, just dinner. Rosa can interrogate me all she wants. Luke squeezed her fingers. She'll probably take you up on that. They talked for another hour, working through the practicalities of being together despite their different worlds. Luke would keep paying for his own meals and activities. Maya would try to remember that not everyone wanted to be taken care of financially. They'd be honest about their fears and hopes. When they left the diner, they held hands on the sidewalk. A few people looked at them curiously, but Maya didn't let go. Are you ready for this? Luke asked. No, Maya said, but I'm ready to try. They kissed goodnight under a street lamp, gentle and unhurried. It felt like a promise they were both hoping they could keep. Tuesday afternoon, Marcelo called Luke into the Azure House office. The restaurant was quiet between lunch and dinner service, but Marcelo looked tense. Sit down, Marcelo said, closing the door behind them. Luke sat in the chair across from Marcelo's desk, wondering if this was about the gossip article. He'd been careful at work, professional as always, but maybe someone had complained. You're a good worker, Luke. Always on time, good with customers, no drama. Thank you. But I need to talk to you about this situation with Maya Bennett. There it was. Luke kept his face neutral. What situation? Come on, Luke. Everyone's seen the photo. Everyone knows you're dating her. Marcelo leaned forward. Look, I don't care what you do on your own time, but this is a small city, and Maya Bennett is a big name. People are going to be watching. Watching for what? For you to mess up, for her to get special treatment here, for drama. Marcelo rubbed his forehead. I've got 3 vendors who've already made jokes about you dating up. And Mrs. Patterson called to ask if we do special arrangements for VIP guests. Luke felt his stomach tighten. I haven't asked for any special arrangements. I know that. But people assume things. Rich woman, working class guy, they think there's got to be an angle. There's no angle. I believe you, but I need you to be extra careful. Keep your personal life separate from work. No texting during shifts, no special attention if she comes in, no drama of any kind. Luke nodded. I understand. I'm offering you extra shifts this weekend if you want them. Big private party Saturday night. Good tips, but it'll be a long night. I'll take them. Marcelo smiled for the first time since Luke had sat down. Good. And Luke, I hope it works out with her. Just be smart about it. That evening, Luke texted Maya. Friday pasta at my place? Rosa too? Maya's response came quickly. She'll come. Friday night, Maya stood in her kitchen putting the finishing touches on a simple dinner. Pasta with marinara sauce, Caesar salad, garlic bread. She'd made enough food for 6 people, which was what she did when she was nervous. The doorbell rang at 6:30. Maya opened it to find Luke and a young woman who looked like a female version of her brother. Same dark hair, same careful eyes. You must be Rosa, Maya said. I'm Maya, come in. Rosa stepped into the townhouse and looked around. Maya watched her take in the hardwood floors, the art on the walls, the kitchen with its granite counters and professional-grade stove. Nice place, Rosa said. It wasn't said meanly, but it wasn't exactly warm either. Thank you. Are you hungry? I made way too much food. They sat down at Maya's kitchen table. It was big enough for 8 people, but Maya had only set 3 places, close together at one end. The conversation started carefully. Luke says you're in nursing school, Maya said as she served the salad. 2 more years, Rosa replied. It's hard, but I love it, taking care of people, helping them heal. That's wonderful. Luke told me you're really smart. Rosa glanced at her brother. He talks too much. But Maya saw Rosa's small smile when she said it. This was a family that took care of each other, that was proud of each other even when they were being modest about it. How long have you lived here? Rosa asked, looking around the kitchen again. 3 years. I bought it because of the garden. Do you want to see it after dinner? They talked about safe things during the meal. Rosa's classes, Luke's handyman work, Maya's favorite restaurants in the city. Maya was careful not to mention anything about business or investments or money. After dinner, they did the dishes together. Rosa washed, Maya dried, Luke put things away. It felt natural, like they'd done it before. "Maya," Rosa said as she handed over a clean plate, "can I ask you something?" "Of course." "What do you want with my brother?" Luke started to protest, but Maya held up a hand. "No, it's a fair question." She turned to Rosa. "I want to spend time with someone who makes me laugh, someone who's kind to strangers and fixes broken things and loves his sister enough to work 2 jobs to put her through school, someone who doesn't see me as a bank account or a business opportunity." Rosa studied Maya's face. "Luke told me you have a lot of money." "I do." "That doesn't bother you? The difference between your life and ours?" Maya thought about how to answer honestly. "It scares me sometimes. Not the money itself, but what it does to relationships. People either want to use me for it, or they're intimidated by it. Luke's the first person who's managed to just see past it. And you really don't want anything from him?" "I want him to keep being himself. I want him to let me be myself too, not some idea of what a rich person should be." Rosa finished washing the last glass and dried her hands. "Okay," she said, "I can work with that." "Work with what?" "You." Rosa smiled, and for the first time that evening, it reached her eyes. "I like you, Maya. You're not what I expected." "What did you expect?" "Someone cold. Someone who thought she was better than us." Rosa paused. "But you made enough food for an army because you were nervous about meeting me. And you've got your inhaler sitting right there on the counter like it's no big deal." Maya looked at the counter. She had put Rosa's inhaler there when they came in, next to her own reading glasses and car keys. Normal things in normal places. "I have asthma too," Maya said. "Had it since I was a kid." "Really?" "Really. Stress makes it worse, so I always keep an inhaler handy when I'm meeting someone important." Rosa looked at Luke, then back at Maya. "Am I important?" "You're the most important person in Luke's life. That makes you pretty important to me." They moved to the living room after dishes were done. Maya had a board game set up on the coffee table, something simple and fun that would keep the conversation light. But as they played, Maya found herself relaxing completely for the first time in months. Rosa was funny and sharp and fiercely protective of her brother. Luke was quieter tonight, watching Maya and Rosa get to know each other. Maya could see him starting to believe this might actually work. Around 9 o'clock, Rosa excused herself to use the bathroom. Maya and Luke sat on the couch, holding hands. "She likes you," Luke said quietly. "How can you tell?" "She's not asking about your security system or your car alarm. When she doesn't trust someone, she makes sure they know we're not easy targets." "Are you easy targets?" Luke shrugged. "2 people living on tips and student loans? Sometimes it feels like it." Maya squeezed his hand. "Not anymore." When Rosa came back, she sat down across from them and folded her hands in her lap. It was clearly time for the serious conversation. "I have 3 rules," she said to Maya. "Okay." 1. Don't try to fix our problems with money. We've been taking care of ourselves for 5 years and we're good at it. Understood? 2. Don't change him. Luke works hard and he's proud of what he does. Don't make him feel like he needs to be different to be worthy of you. I wouldn't want him to be different. 3. Be honest. If this gets too hard or too complicated or you decide you want someone from your own world instead, tell him. Don't just disappear. Maya nodded. "Those are good rules. Can I add one of my own?" "Sure. Don't let him try to take care of me just because I have money. I'm not fragile, and I don't need to be rescued. I just need to be seen." Rosa looked at her brother. "You hear that? No rescuing." "I heard," Luke said with a smile. They exchanged what Maya privately thought of as small vows, promises to be honest, to speak up early if something felt wrong, to not test each other with games or tricks. At the door, Rosa hugged Maya goodbye. "Thank you for dinner, and for not being awful. Thank you for giving me a chance." After Rosa got in the car, Luke lingered on Maya's front steps. "That went well," he said. "Better than well. I really like her." "She really likes you too. I can tell because she didn't ask for your license plate number or your mother's maiden name." Maya laughed. "She would have done that?" "Probably. Rosa takes her big sister duties seriously, even though I'm older." Luke kissed Maya goodnight, soft and unhurried. "I'll call you tomorrow?" I'd like that. Maya watched them drive away, then went inside to clean up. The kitchen felt warm and lived in a way it never had before. For the first time, her house felt like a home where people belonged. Saturday morning, Maya woke up to 6 missed calls from her mother. Before she could call back, Elaine was at her front door. "We need to talk," Elaine said, holding up her phone. "Have you seen this?" On the screen was another gossip blog post, this one with a photo of Luke and Rosa leaving Maya's townhouse the night before. The headline read, "Maya Bennett's new romance gets serious. Family dinner at her mansion." "It's not a mansion," Maya said automatically. "That's what you're worried about? Maya, this is getting out of hand. People are talking. The whole city knows you're dating a waiter." "People always talk about me, Mom. At least now they're talking about something real instead of speculating about which suitable man I might marry." Elaine came inside and sat down in Maya's living room. She looked tired and worried in a way that made Maya soften toward her. "I'm scared for you," Elaine said quietly. "Why?" "Because you're putting yourself out there in a way you never have before. You're letting people see who you really are, and that makes you vulnerable." Maya sat down beside her mother. "I've been hiding for 29 years, Mom. I'm tired of being safe and lonely." "What if he hurts you? What if this doesn't work out and you're left with a broken heart and gossip columnists writing about your private pain?" "Then I'll deal with it. But at least I'll have tried." Elaine was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I'd like to meet him, properly, not just at a restaurant, but really meet him." "Are you sure?" "I'm sure I love my daughter, and I want to understand what makes her happy." Maya felt something tight in her chest loosen. "He's working tonight, but maybe Sunday. Just coffee, nothing formal." "Just coffee," Elaine agreed. That night, Luke worked the private party at Azure House. It was a 50th wedding anniversary for a couple whose children had rented out the entire restaurant. Luke was on his feet for 8 hours, serving champagne and clearing plates and helping make an evening special for people who'd been in love for 50 years. During his break, he stepped outside for air and found Jordan Pike waiting by the staff entrance. "Luke, right?" Jordan extended a manicured hand. "Jordan Pike. I'm a friend of Maya's." Luke recognized the name from Maya's phone, the ex-boyfriend who didn't understand that X meant X. "What can I do for you?" Luke asked, not shaking Jordan's hand. "I just wanted to have a quick chat about Maya." "There's nothing to chat about. Look, I get it. She's beautiful, she's rich, and she's giving you attention. That must feel pretty good for someone in your situation." Luke felt his jaw tighten. "My situation? Come on, Luke. You're a nice guy, I'm sure. But let's be realistic. Maya's going through a phase. She does this sometimes. Rebels against her mother, dates someone inappropriate, proves she's independent. But it never lasts." "You seem pretty sure about that." "I've known Maya for 10 years. This isn't love, it's rebellion. And when she's done proving her point, she'll go back to her real life. The question is whether you'll make it easy or hard for her." Luke looked at Jordan. His expensive suit, his perfect hair, his confidence that money and status made him better qualified to judge Maya's feelings than Maya herself. "Thanks for the advice," Luke said, "but I think Maya can speak for herself." "Can she, though? When's the last time she told you no about anything? When's the last time she let you pay for dinner or turned down one of your suggestions? Face it, Luke, you're not dating Maya Bennett. You're dating her guilt complex." Before Luke could respond, Jordan got back in his expensive car and drove away. Luke finished his shift with Jordan's words echoing in his head. By the time he got home, Rosa was asleep and the apartment was quiet. He sat at the kitchen table with his phone, staring at Maya's last text. "How was the party?" He started to type 3 different responses and deleted them all. Instead, he wrote, "Long night, talk tomorrow." Sunday afternoon, Maya sat in a quiet cafe with her mother, waiting for Luke to arrive. Maya was nervous in a way she hadn't been since high school. Her mother's approval had always mattered to her, even when she'd rebelled against it. Luke arrived exactly on time, wearing dark jeans and a blue button-down shirt. He looked handsome and nervous and completely out of place in the cafe where most customers wore clothes that cost more than he made in a month. "Mom," Maya said, standing up, "this is Luke Harris. Luke, this is my mother, Elaine Bennett." Luke shook Elaine's hand. "Mrs. Bennett, it's nice to meet you properly." Please, call me Elaine. Sit down. They ordered coffee and made small talk about the weather in the restaurant. Elaine asked Luke about his work, both at Azure House and his handyman jobs. Luke answered honestly, without trying to make himself sound more impressive than he was. Maya tells me you take care of your sister, Elaine said. We take care of each other. Rose is the smart one. She's going to be a nurse. I just try to keep us afloat until she finishes school. That must be difficult sometimes. Sometimes. But family's family. Elaine nodded. She understood something about family obligation and sacrifice, even if her sacrifices looked different from Luke's. After an hour, Elaine excused herself to use the restroom. Maya and Luke sat alone at their table. How do you think it's going? Maya asked. Hard to tell. She hasn't asked about my credit score or my criminal background, so that's probably good. Maya laughed, but she could see Luke was genuinely nervous. When her mother came back, she sat down and looked directly at Luke. I'm going to be honest with you, Elaine said. I'm protective of my daughter. She's been hurt before by people who wanted to use her. I understand. I don't think you want to use her, but I do think this situation is complicated in ways you might not have considered. Luke glanced at Maya, then back at Elaine. What kind of complications? Maya's world is different from yours. There are expectations, responsibilities, pressures that come with wealth. People will judge your relationship, make assumptions about both of you. Some of those assumptions will be cruel. I know that. Do you? Because it's one thing to know it in theory. It's another thing to live with it every day. Elaine reached into her purse and pulled out an envelope. She placed it on the table in front of Luke. What is this? Luke asked. A scholarship fund for your sister. Full tuition, living expenses, everything she needs to finish nursing school. Luke stared at the envelope like it might explode. I can't accept this. You're not accepting it. I'm offering it to Rosa because she deserves every opportunity to succeed. Mrs. Bennett? Elaine. Elaine. I appreciate the thought, but we don't take charity. It's not charity. It's an investment in a bright young woman's future. Luke pushed the envelope back across the table. Thank you, but no. Luke, Elaine said gently, this isn't about pride. This is about giving Rosa the same advantages that other people take for granted. And what do you want in return? Nothing? There's always something? Elaine was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I want to know that you care about Maya's happiness more than you care about proving a point. Luke stood up. I'm sorry, but I can't do this. Maya, I'll call you later. He left the cafe quickly, leaving the envelope on the table. Maya and her mother sat in silence for several minutes. Well, Maya said finally, that went well. Maya. No, Mom, I know you meant well, but you just did exactly what Luke was afraid you'd do. You tried to buy his cooperation. I was trying to help his sister. You were trying to test him, and he passed. He walked away from more money than he'll see in years because he won't be bought. Elaine picked up the envelope and put it back in her purse. I'm sorry. I was trying to protect you. I know, but Luke doesn't need your protection, and neither do I. We just need your trust. That evening, Maya drove to Luke's apartment. She'd texted him 3 times, but he hadn't responded. She climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor and knocked on his door. Rosa answered. Maya? What are you doing here? Is Luke home? I need to talk to him. He's pretty upset. Something about your mother offering me money? She did offer you money. A scholarship. Luke turned it down. Rosa's eyes widened. How much money? Enough to cover all your school expenses. And he said no? He said no. Rosa was quiet for a moment. Then she called over her shoulder, Luke, get out here. Maya's here, and we need to talk about this scholarship thing. Luke appeared in the living room doorway. He looked tired and frustrated, and like he'd been running his hands through his hair. Maya, I can't. Yes, you can. You can listen to me for 5 minutes. Rosa sat down on the couch. Both of you sit down, now. Maya and Luke sat on opposite ends of the couch, not touching. Okay, Rosa said. Maya, explain the scholarship. My mother set up a fund to cover Rosa's tuition and expenses. No strings, no expectations, just an investment in your education. And Luke said no because? Luke looked at his sister. Because we don't take handouts, Rosa. We never have. It's not a handout, Maya said quietly. It's a gift from one family to another. A gift that comes right after your mother tests whether I can be bought? A gift that comes because my mother met you and Rosa and realized you're exactly the kind of people she wants to support. She sets up scholarships all the time, Luke. This isn't about testing you or buying you. It's about helping someone who deserves help. Rosa looked back and forth between them. Can I say something? Luke, I love you for wanting to protect me, but I also love learning. And this scholarship would mean I could focus on school instead of worrying about money every month. Luke ran his hands through his hair again. Rosa. And, Maya, I appreciate the offer. But Luke's right that it feels complicated. What if things don't work out between you two? What happens to the scholarship then? Maya had been thinking about that same question all afternoon. Then it continues anyway. The fund is set up through my mother's foundation, not through me. Whatever happens between Luke and me has nothing to do with your education. You're sure about that? Rosa asked. I'm sure. Rosa looked at her brother. Luke, I want this. I want to graduate without debt. I want to become a nurse without worrying about whether we can afford my books each semester. Luke was quiet for a long time. Maya could see him struggling between his pride and his love for his sister. Okay, he said finally. But I have conditions. What conditions? Maya asked. The scholarship goes through proper channels. Rosa applies like any other student, provides transcripts and references, the whole thing. No special treatment just because I'm dating you. Done. And if Rosa doesn't maintain good grades, the scholarship stops. This isn't a free ride. Of course not. And this doesn't change anything between us. I still pay for my own dinners, my own activities, everything. I wouldn't want it any other way. Luke looked at Maya across the couch. Your mother really sets up scholarships all the time? All the time. She believes in education. And she believes in helping people who help themselves. And this really has nothing to do with testing whether I can be bought? Maya moved closer to him on the couch. Luke, if my mother wanted to test whether you could be bought, she would have offered you money for yourself, not for Rosa. The fact that she offered help for your sister tells me she understands what kind of person you are. Luke was quiet for another moment. Then he pulled Maya into a hug. I'm sorry I walked out on you today. I'm sorry my mother put you in that position. Actually, Rosa said from her chair, I think I like your mother. They all laughed and the tension finally broke. But later that night, after Maya had gone home and Rosa was asleep, Luke lay awake thinking about Jordan's words at the restaurant. Was Maya dating him out of guilt? Was this all just rebellion against her controlled life? He didn't have answers, but he knew that tomorrow he'd have to find the courage to ask the questions. Monday morning, Luke woke up to find Rosa sitting at their kitchen table with coffee and her laptop, already researching the scholarship application process. You're up early, Luke said, starting his own coffee. I couldn't sleep. Luke, do you know how much money this is? I could quit my part-time job at the clinic and focus completely on school. I could take that summer anatomy course I wanted. I could actually buy the textbooks new instead of hunting for used copies. Luke sat down across from his sister. She looked happier than he'd seen her in months, and that made his chest tight with emotion he didn't know how to name. You sure about this? He asked. It doesn't feel weird to you? A little weird, yeah, but Luke, I've been watching Maya with you. She's not trying to change you or fix you or turn you into someone else. She just likes you. And if her family wants to help me succeed, I'm not too proud to let them. Luke's phone buzzed, a text from Maya. Good morning. Coffee later? He typed back, can't today. Working for Mrs. Chen, then double shift at Azure House. Tomorrow then? I miss you. Luke stared at that last text for a long time. 3 simple words that made him feel like he was standing on the edge of a cliff, about to either fly or fall. Text her back, Rosa said, reading over his shoulder. I don't know what to say. How about I miss you too, because you do. You've been moping around here since yesterday. Luke typed. I miss you too, tomorrow for sure. But as he got ready for work, Jordan's words kept echoing in his head. Was this real? Or was Maya just proving something to herself and her mother? At Azure House that night, Luke worked mechanically through the dinner service. He was polite to customers, efficient with orders, but his mind was somewhere else. During his break, he stepped outside and found Marcelo waiting for him. You okay tonight? Marcelo asked. You seem distracted. Just tired. Long couple of days. This about the Bennett situation? Luke looked at his boss. What do you mean? Look, Luke, I like you. You're a good worker and a decent guy, but I've been in the restaurant business for 15 years, and I've seen this before. Seen what before? Rich woman, working guy, everyone talking about it. Sometimes it works out. Most times, Marcelo shrugged. Most times the rich woman goes back to her real life, and the working guy ends up hurt and unemployed. You firing me? No, but I am saying that if this thing with Maya goes south, don't let it affect your work, because I can't keep you on if you can't do your job. Luke nodded. Understood. And Luke? Be careful. I'm not saying Maya Bennett is a bad person, but her world and yours, they don't usually mix well. Tuesday evening, Maya met Luke at Harbor Diner. She'd spent the day trying to focus on work, but her mind kept drifting to the tension she'd felt from him in his texts. Something was wrong, and she needed to know what. They sat in their usual booth, but Luke seemed distant. He ordered coffee and pie, but barely touched either. Okay, Maya said after 10 minutes of small talk. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Luke, I can see something's bothering you. Just tell me. Luke looked out the window at the dark street, then back at Maya. Can I ask you something? Anything. Why are you with me? Maya blinked. What do you mean? I mean, you could be with anyone. Rich guys, educated guys, guys who understand your world and can take you to fancy places and buy you expensive things. Why are you sitting in a diner with someone who fixes broken furniture for a living? Maya felt something cold settle in her stomach. Is that what you think? That I'm slumming it with you? I think maybe you're trying to prove something. To your mother, to yourself, to everyone who expects you to marry someone suitable. And you think I chose you because you're unsuitable? Luke was quiet for a moment. I think maybe you like the idea of me more than you like me. Maya stared at him across the table. She could see the doubt in his eyes, the fear that this was all too good to be true. She understood that fear because she'd felt it too, but hearing him voice it still hurt. Someone's been talking to you, she said quietly. What? Someone's been in your head making you doubt this. Who was it? Luke hesitated, then said, Jordan stopped by Azure House on Saturday. He said some things. What kind of things? That you're going through a phase, that you always rebel against your mother by dating inappropriate guys, and it never lasts. Maya felt anger rise in her chest, not at Luke, but at Jordan for poisoning something good with his own bitterness. And you believed him? I don't know what to believe, Maya. This all feels too good to be real. You're beautiful and smart and rich, and I'm... Luke gestured to himself. I'm nobody. Stop. Maya's voice was sharp enough that Luke looked up in surprise. Don't you dare call yourself nobody. You're the man who works 2 jobs to put his sister through school. You're the man who fixed Mrs. Chen's kitchen drawer for $20 because that's all she could afford. You're the man who returned my business card because you didn't want anything from me except honesty. Maya, I'm not done. You want to know why I'm with you? Because when I'm with you, I don't have to pretend to be anyone else. I don't have to be the investment heiress or the suitable daughter or the charity board member. I just get to be Maya. Do you know how rare that is? Luke was quiet, listening. And you want to know what Jordan doesn't understand? I'm not rebelling against my mother by being with you. I'm becoming who I was meant to be. With you, I laugh more. I worry less about what people think. I eat pie at midnight and help fix wobbly tables and fall asleep thinking about someone who makes me happy instead of someone who makes sense on paper. Maya reached across the table and took Luke's hands. I'm not with you because you're inappropriate. I'm with you because you're exactly right. Luke looked down at their joined hands. Your mother offering Rosa that scholarship. It made me feel like charity. I know, and I'm sorry about that. Mom meant well, but she doesn't understand that some people need to earn their way instead of being given things. But Rosa wants it, and she deserves it, and I don't want my pride to stand in the way of her future. Maya squeezed his fingers. Then don't let it. Let Rosa apply for the scholarship like any other student. Let her earn it with her grades and her work ethic and her heart. And you can feel proud that you raised a sister worthy of that investment. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. eating pie and drinking coffee and finding their way back to each other. "I'm sorry," Luke said finally. "I let Jordan get in my head. He's good at that. He spent 2 years trying to convince me that no one would love me for myself, only for my money." "Is that why you broke up with him?" "Part of it. The other part was that I realized I didn't love him either. I loved the idea of someone my mother approved of, someone who fit into my world perfectly. But perfect fit isn't the same as right fit." Luke smiled for the first time that evening. "Right fit?" "Right fit, like how your hand fits in mine. Not perfect, but right." They left the diner holding hands, and Luke felt the weight he'd been carrying for days finally lift from his chest. Jordan was wrong. Maya wasn't with him out of guilt or rebellion. She was with him because they made each other happy. But their peace didn't last long. Wednesday afternoon, Maya came home from a board meeting to find an envelope in her mailbox. Her name was scrawled on the outside in unfamiliar handwriting, and there was a note paperclipped to it. "Luke asked me to return this. Thanks anyway." Inside the envelope was cash, more cash than Luke made in a month, and a typed note that said, "This should cover the rest of what we discussed. Thanks for understanding." Maya's blood went cold. She called Luke immediately. "Luke, did you take money from my mother?" There was silence on the other end. Then Luke said, "What?" "There's an envelope at my house with your name on it, and a note about returning money. Did you take money from my mother?" "Maya, no, I told you, I refused the envelope at the cafe. I left it on the table and walked away." "Then how did this get to my house?" Luke was quiet for a moment. "I don't know. But Maya, I swear to you, I didn't take any money from anyone." Maya wanted to believe him, but the evidence was sitting on her kitchen counter, and doubt crept into her voice despite herself. "The note says, 'the rest of what we discussed.' What would that mean?" "I have no idea. Maya, please, call the cafe. Ask them what happened to the envelope after I left. They'll tell you I didn't take it." "I need to think about this." "Maya, please don't." "I need to think," Maya repeated, and hung up. Luke stared at his phone, then immediately called back. It went straight to voicemail. He tried texting, but Maya didn't respond. At 9 o'clock that night, Luke was driving Rosa home from her shift at the clinic when she started coughing. By the time they reached their apartment, Rosa was wheezing badly enough that Luke turned around and drove straight to urgent care. "I'm fine," Rosa wheezed as they sat in the waiting room. "Just need my inhaler." "You used your inhaler 3 times today." "This isn't normal asthma, Rosa. Something's wrong." They waited for 2 hours before a doctor could see Rosa. Luke's phone had died sometime during the wait, and he'd forgotten his charger. He sent one last text before the battery died. "At urgent care for Rosa. I didn't take it. Please believe me. The doctor said Rosa had a respiratory infection that was triggering her asthma. Nothing serious, but she needed antibiotics and rest. They didn't get home until almost midnight." The next morning, Luke found a bag outside their apartment door. Inside was homemade soup, crackers, and a note in Maya's handwriting. "I was wrong. I called the cafe. They confirmed you left the money there. Someone else must have taken it and planted this at my house. I choose you, not my fear. I'm sorry." Rosa read the note over Luke's shoulder. "She came here, in the middle of the night?" "She came when we were quiet," Luke said softly, "when we needed help." Luke called Maya, but it went to voicemail. He tried texting from Rosa's phone. "Thank you for the soup. Can we talk tonight? Diner 7:30? Maya's response came quickly. "Yes." That afternoon, Maya sat in her living room with her mother, setting boundaries she should have set years ago. "No more tests," Maya said firmly. "No more money offers to Luke or his family without going through proper channels. No more attempts to manage my relationships. Maya, I know what you were trying to do, but Mom, I'm 29 years old. I can make my own decisions and my own mistakes." Elaine was quiet for a long moment. "Someone planted that money at your house." "I know, probably Jordan, though I can't prove it." "And you believed, even for a moment, that Luke had taken it." Maya nodded, ashamed. "That's my fault," Elaine said quietly. "I raised you to be suspicious, to assume people wanted something from you. I thought I was protecting you, but I was just making you lonely." I'm not lonely anymore, Mom. I can see that, and I can see that Luke makes you happy in a way I haven't seen in years. Then trust me to know what's good for me. Elaine nodded. I'll try. That night, Maya and Luke sat in their booth at Harbor Diner. The same booth where they'd first really talked, where they'd worked through the revelation of Maya's wealth, where they'd made promises about honesty. I'm sorry, Maya said as soon as they'd ordered coffee. I should have trusted you. I'm sorry someone put you in a position where you had to choose between evidence and faith. It wasn't evidence. It was a setup, and I fell for it because I was scared. Scared of what? Maya stirred sugar into her coffee, thinking about how to explain. Scared that this was too good to be real. Scared that you'd eventually realize you could do better. Scared that everyone was right when they said we didn't make sense together. Do you still feel that way? No, because I realized something when I thought I was losing you. I realized that I don't care if we make sense to other people. We make sense to me. Luke reached across the table and took her hand. We make sense to me too. They talked for 2 hours, setting new rules for their relationship. No hiding important things from each other. No listening to outside voices over their own instincts. No testing each other's love with games or tricks. I have one more thing to tell you, Maya said as they prepared to leave. What? I love you. Luke felt his heart skip. Maya, you don't have to say it back. I just wanted you to know. Luke stood up and pulled Maya into his arms, right there in the middle of the diner. I love you too, he whispered. I was just too scared to say it first. They kissed, while Janine refilled coffee cups around them and pretended not to notice two people falling completely in love in booth number 7. Saturday morning, Maya answered her door to find Luke standing there with a small toolbox and a smile. Ready to learn about shelf installation? He asked. They spent the morning putting up shelves in Maya's home office, with Maya learning to measure and Luke teaching her how to anchor brackets properly. It was simple work, but it felt like building something important together. Rosa stopped by around noon with lemon bars from the bakery near her school. How's the scholarship application going? Maya asked. I should hear back next week. But Maya, even if I don't get it, thank you for believing I was worth the offer. You're worth so much more than that, Rosa. Elaine texted Maya that afternoon. How are the shelves coming? No interference intended, just maternal curiosity. Maya showed the text to Luke. She's trying, she said. I can work with trying, Luke replied. That evening, Marcelo stopped by Azure House even though it was his day off. He found Luke restocking glasses behind the bar. How are things going? Marcelo asked. Good, really good. The Bennett situation working out? Luke smiled. Her name's Maya. And yes, it's working out. Marcelo nodded. Good. You seem happier. And the staff's been asking when she's coming in again. Apparently she left thank you notes for everyone after that charity dinner. She did? Individual notes, handwritten. She remembered people's names and specific things they'd done to help that night. Marcelo shrugged. That's not something people do if they think they're better than us. Sunday evening, Maya and Luke walked on the beach as the sun set. It was the same beach where Maya had imagined learning to sail, where she dreamed of adventures beyond her controlled life. I've been thinking about something, Luke said as they found a piece of driftwood to sit on. What? Jordan was right about one thing. You could be with anyone. Rich guys, powerful guys, guys who could give you the life you're used to. Maya started to protest, but Luke held up a hand. But here's what he doesn't understand. I don't want to give you the life you're used to. I want to give you the life you've been looking for. Small dinners and honest conversations and someone who sees you first thing in the morning and thinks he's the luckiest man alive. Luke, I'm not rich, Maya. I probably never will be. I can't buy you diamonds or take you to Paris or give you anything that costs more than I make in a month. But I can love you completely. I can be someone you never have to pretend with. I can build you shelves and fix your broken things and hold you when you're scared. Maya felt tears on her cheeks. That sounds perfect. Yeah? Yeah, because I don't want diamonds or Paris or expensive things. I want someone who sees me cooking terrible pasta and thinks it's the best meal he's ever had. I want someone who argues with me about the right way to load a dishwasher. I want someone who loves me enough to walk away from my mother's money, but loves his sister enough to let her take the scholarship she deserves. Luke pulled out his phone and took a picture of them sitting on the driftwood with the sunset behind them. No filters, no perfect poses, just two people who'd found each other despite every reason it shouldn't work. "What's that for?" Maya asked. "Evidence," Luke said, "in case anyone ever asks us how we knew this was real." 6 months later, Maya and Luke were featured in the society pages again. Not for drama or scandal, but because Luke had graduated from a community college program in sustainable building practices. With his tuition paid through a scholarship fund Maya had quietly established for working adults. Rosa was on the dean's list at nursing school. Elaine had dinner with Luke and Rosa once a month and was learning to ask about their lives instead of offering to fix their problems. Jordan had moved to another city after his marketing firm lost several clients who didn't appreciate his gossip mongering. And every Friday night, Maya and Luke could be found in booth number 7 at Harbor Diner, sharing pie and planning their small, honest life together. The richest woman in most rooms had found the only thing she'd ever really wanted, someone who loved her for exactly who she was, no more and no less. "You know what I realized?" Maya said one Friday night as they walked home from the diner. "What?" "I spent so many years being afraid that people only loved me for my money. But the real fear was that without the money, I wouldn't be worth loving at all." Luke stopped walking and turned to face her under a streetlight. "Maya Bennett," he said seriously, "if you lost every penny tomorrow, if you had to move into our tiny apartment and eat ramen noodles and shop at thrift stores, you'd still be the most extraordinary woman I've ever met. You'd still be kind and smart and funny and beautiful. You'd still be the person who remembered every server's name and left thank you notes for people who didn't expect them. You'd still be you, and you are completely worth loving." Maya kissed him under that streetlight, surrounded by the sounds of their small city at night. Rich or poor, famous or unknown, it didn't matter. They had each other, and they had the truth. And that was enough. It was more than enough. It was everything.